Welcome to Covertite's WHMIS in Construction Refresher Course. WHMIS stands for Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System. There are 5 topics that we will touch on today. They are hazardous materials, labels, material safety data sheets, training, and occupational health and controlling hazards. Many common construction materials present hazards to the workplace. Compressed gases, acids, adhesives, paints, or any solvent-based product can be harmful. Specific products that may be encountered while on the roof include propane, coal tack, elasticol stick, or various adhesives. The Hazardous Products Act says that any harmful product, material, or substance falls into one of 6 hazard classes. Shown here are the different hazard symbols. Class A, compressed gas. This is a substance at room temperature that is in a gaseous state and kept under pressure. Class B, flammable and combustible material. This is a solid, liquid, or gas that will ignite and continue to burn when exposed to a flame. Class C, oxidizing material, a substance that will promote another to burn. Class D, poisonous and infectious material. This is the only class that is subdivided into divisions, each having their own hazard symbol. The subdivisions of Class D are materials causing immediate and serious toxic effects, materials causing other toxic effects, and biohazardous infectious material. Class E, corrosive material. This is a substance that will erode metals or destroy animal tissue. Class F, dangerously reactive material. This is material that will react with water to produce a poisonous gas or will react if a container is heated, pressurized, or agitated. Dangerous substances can be in solid, liquid, or vapor form. This includes fumes, dust, smoke, or mist. It is important to note that a chemical agent can exist in more than one state. The change in state, in other words, going from a solid to a liquid, may change a safe substance into a toxic health risk. One of the most important aspects of WHMIS is getting the protective information to the worker. It is the worker's right to know. This is done through labels, material safety data sheets, and training. All 3 of these have equal importance, as labels and MSDS have little value if workers are not trained in how to read and interpret them. Likewise, training is useless if labels are not available and MSDS are not provided. There are 2 types of labels. The first are supplier labels. They contain the name of the product, 1 or more of the 8 hazard symbols that apply, description of effects from exposure, specific information about what precautions to take and how to treat a person who has been overexposed to the product. Mandatory features of the supplier label are the crosshatch border, contrasting colors, and in both English and French. The second type are workplace labels. They are needed if a controlled product is transferred from a supplier container into a workplace container, if a supplier label is missing or illegible, or if the product is produced in the employer's workplace. The label must contain the name of the product, safe handling instructions, and the statement that MSDS are available. The supplier must apply a WHMIS label to their containers and update them if new information becomes available. The employer shall ensure that products have their supplier labels and are to create workplace labels when necessary. And it is the responsibility of the worker to follow all directives on the labels and to notify the employer if labels are missing or unreadable. The second level of the WHMIS information system are material safety data sheets, or MSDS for short. MSDS contain details for emergencies and instructions for the safe handling of the material. They are valid for 3 years and are to be available in both English and French. There are 9 categories on an MSDS, and they are as follows. 1. Product identification and use. This is the name of the product and what it is used for. It is important to ensure that the MSDS corresponds with the product. 2. Hazardous ingredients. All hazardous ingredients that are contained in the product must be identified here. Non-hazardous ingredients need not be identified, but often they are. 3. Physical data. Information here is such as the boiling point, solubility, and pH levels. The vapor density of the product will also be stated, which will tell you if the product is lighter or heavier than air. In other words, will the vapor rise above or sink below ambient air? 4. Fire and explosion data. This is the product's flash point and upper and lower flammable limits. 5. Reactivity data. Explains what could cause the product to react and create an unsafe situation. 6. Toxicological properties. This is data on health effects due to overexposure. Exposure limits are set so workers can work at or below the limit without ill effects. If the effects are experienced, overexposure is occurring and protective measures need to be used or improved. 7. Preventative measures. It must be spelled out specifically what types of personal protective equipment is needed. Just saying wear suitable eye protection or wear suitable gloves is not acceptable. 8. First aid measures. Instructions on how to treat an affected worker. And 9. Preparation information. This just talks about who prepared the information and the date this was done. Material safety data sheets are to be readily available in printed form to all workers. Readily available means immediately, not after break or tomorrow morning. Employers are to train their workers about interpreting labels in MSDS. Any workplace-specific information is to be relayed, and the employer is to ensure that the training results in the workers being able to apply their knowledge as needed to protect their health and safety. On larger multi-employer sites, the general contractor should have copies of all MSDS so this information can be shared with other trades working nearby. Occupational health. WSIB statistics reveal that occupational diseases kill about as many Ontario construction workers as do accidents. There are 4 routes of entry into the body for hazardous substances. The first is inhalation. Breathing is one of the most common routes of entry for toxins. Your lungs are in constant contact with pollutants in the workplace air and are a prime target for carcinogens. Next is absorption. Some chemicals can penetrate through skin, reach your bloodstream, and travel to other parts of your body to cause harm. The third major route of entry is ingestion. Toxic materials may reach your stomach when food and drink are consumed, clean lunch areas are not provided, food is left unwrapped in a dusty area, cigarettes are smoked in a dusty workplace, or workers failing to wash their hands before eating or smoking. Finally, there is an injection. Skin can be punctured from a high-pressure spray gun or oil from high-pressure hydraulic hoses. Controlling hazards is important to prevent overexposure. There are 3 ways to do this: at the source, along the path, and at the worker. Each control must meet certain requirements. They must adequately control the hazard, allow workers to do their jobs without undue discomfort and must not create new hazards, protect every worker who might be exposed to it, and they must not create a hazard in surrounding areas. Controls tend to be less effective the further away they are from the source of the hazard. Controlling it right at the source is always the best method. This can be done by elimination, isolation, enclosure, or changing the process. Methods along the path include adequate ventilation, barriers, or improved housekeeping. Controls at the worker may consist of personal protective equipment, PPE, administrative controls, education to enhance protection, and medical follow-up to ensure that control strategies are working. For effective controls to be in place, emergency planning should be done. In order of priority, the objectives of this plan are: 1. Prevent injury or death. 2. Reduce damage to buildings or equipment. 3. Accelerate the resumption of normal operations. By definition, emergencies are sudden, unexpected events. Past examples teach us to anticipate and plan for their frequency and severity. And that concludes our WHMIS refresher course. There is a 10-question evaluation to test your knowledge. The answer page is attached to the back of your question sheet. Feel free to use the WHMIS booklet to assist in your answers. Thank you for your time today, and remember to work safe and be on the lookout for your fellow workers.